What up, gang, and welcome back once again to I Like Watches. In this video, I want to show you a couple of awesome San Martin watches. Now, the first one I want to show you, you're going to get a sense of deja vu, I think, because this is now the third SN0129 I will have shown you on this channel in the past few months, but there's a couple of good reasons for that. Firstly, I do think this is one of the best watches San Martin has ever made, and secondly, I think they've just released a version 2, but it's sort of snuck under the radar a little bit. So yeah, I'm going to talk to you about why I think this watch is now a version 2, but I'm also going to talk to you about another watch that's sort of snuck under the radar a little bit, a dive watch that's been available on the official store on AliExpress for quite some time, but yeah, it doesn't seem to have been picked up by many reviewers. So yeah, they've sent me one to show you. Enjoy, guys. So this is the latest SN0129 that San Martin have sent me to show you guys, and they're still referring to it as an SN0129. They've not put any additional letters or numbers after it, so I'm assuming they're still treating it as a version 1, but in my eyes I do think it is a version 2 because they've made a fairly important change, a change that I was championing for from the very beginning, and I know a lot of you guys have said exactly the same. This watch needed an all-brushed bracelet, and that's what they're now providing on this latest iteration, along with 3 rather unusual dials. Aventurine, okay, not that unusual. Marble, a little bit more unusual, but also lapis lazuli. I think I've said that correctly. I have never seen a watch with a lapis lazuli dial, so I wish they'd have sent me that one because I've seen aventurine dials before. But yeah, lapis lazuli, it's a little bit like aventurine. It's a sort of blue gemstone with sort of bits in it. But yeah, that's pretty cool. So you can buy this watch now with a fully brushed bracelet and one of those 3 dial options. Now, I've studied the rest of this watch and everything else seems to be exactly the same, or as it was with the previous watches that I've reviewed. I'll link those 2 reviews or videos in my video description if you want to see the previous versions that I've reviewed. But just to quickly summarize, you get all the good stuff with San Martin watches, and this watch is no different. Decent clasp with on-the-fly adjustment, fantastic bracelet, solid construction, 316L stainless steel, sapphire crystal, impeccable build quality, NH34 GMT, gorgeous applied indices on this watch. One of these watches, the previous one I saw with the sort of silvery sand dune dial, featured in a comparison video, and it did particularly well. I was comparing the steel finishing or just overall finishing of 6 watches, and yeah, the San Martin did extremely well, even up against a Grand Seiko, which I got to say was actually a little bit disappointing. So yeah, I'm not going to go into every single little detail on this watch because I've covered it already in previous videos, but yeah, I just wanted to show you this latest iteration. Now let's move on to the much less familiar second watch that I want to show you in this video. Like I said already, this watch has been available for quite some time, and it is a little bit different when compared to a lot of the other dive watches that San Martin have made in the past. So yeah, I am a little bit surprised that I haven't seen more content on this watch on YouTube, and I'm a little bit surprised that I've waited this long to review it as well. I like the colour combination. It's a sort of flat grey colour, and this is an enamel dial. It's not a sort of standard dial, so it's got a bit of a sort of sheen to it. And then of course the bezel insert is orange, and I think they actually go pretty well together. You've got a colour matching seconds hand. This is an NH35 powered 200 meter diver by San Martin. So these watches, in my opinion, do represent their bread and butter. They make these watches, or these I should say, I think are the best watches to pick up from San Martin. I think they represent incredible value for money, and I'm talking about NH35 powered 200 meter divers. At the moment, and I'm filming this during a little mini sale, this watch is available for $225 US, which I think is incredible. I suspect that sale will have ended by the time this video goes live. So yeah, look out for this watch if you're interested during the next big AliExpress sale at the end of March. But what else makes this watch a little bit out of the ordinary for San Martin? Well, it's the bracelet as well. Look at it. It's a Milanese bracelet, but with sort of solid end links. They match the case very, very nicely, and I really, really like the way that they've integrated that bracelet with the case. Comes with a slightly different clasp as well. They've not put that chunky on the fly adjustment clasp on this bracelet, which I think is a good decision because I'm not so sure this particular bracelet could handle it. And I don't mean physically, I just mean in terms of its proportions. And then you've got the overall design of the watch, the case, crown at the 4 o'clock, sort of chunky notches on the bezel, almost flared lugs, domed crystal. I don't think it's a true piece of single domed crystal or a proper piece of double domed, because when you look at the dial at a tight angle, there is some distortion, so I think it sits somewhere in between. But yeah, a really interesting piece of crystal. Fairly simple hands, well, minute and hour hands, and then you've got that sort of blocky second hand, and you've got blocky indices on the dial, a triangle at the 12. It's, well, I was going to say a mishmash, but it's not the sort of mishmash in the sense that it doesn't work. I think it does work. It's just a number of elements that have come together that you wouldn't expect to sort of work. And to some degree, I think it does. Or maybe it doesn't. Maybe that's why it's not been picked up by too many watch reviewers. But yeah, I think it's definitely different. And we've been crying out for San Martin to make some more unusual and interesting watches, and yeah, I think they've delivered with this one for sure. Oh, and there's a couple of things I've forgotten to mention. They've put some removable links essentially on this bracelet. Yeah, I reviewed a steel dive recently, and that bracelet, you had to literally cut some links out of it to get it to fit. But this one, San Martin have made the decision to put some removable sections in this bracelet with screw pins, so I think that is a really, really good decision. And the bezel insert is ceramic, of course. I'll show you the lume on both of these watches as I wrap up this video. So yeah, I think that's roughly about now. So guys, let me know what you think of these two watches in the comments section, and don't forget the next big AliExpress sale is sort of fast approaching. It'll be at the end of March. You'll know when it is because YouTube will be filled up with reviewers promoting AliExpress watches, including me, no doubt. Right guys, as always, thanks for watching. Take care. You'll see me again very soon.